No Nut November, invented in 445 BC when Buddha sat unmoving under a tree for 49 days, reaching enlightenment. Most people believe that Buddha reached his enlightenment through a deep, undisturbed meditation, when in reality, it was simply the fact that he hadn't busted a nut in almost 50 days. No Nut November exists today as a way to pay homage to Buddha. By going a full 30 days without nut busting, we experience at least a portion of the awakening that Buddha went through. You may be wondering, why limit ourselves to only 30 days? Why not go beyond and try to reach the same heights as the original No Nut Master? Well, upon reaching this level of enlightenment, Buddha's testicles had shriveled to about a tenth of their original size, making any future nut busting practically impossible. What we strive for with No Nut November is not impotence, but simply a deeper understanding of the world around us, and to pay our respects to the man who introduced us to this method of achieving enlightenment, at the cost of his own balls. I know what you're thinking. How does not ejaculating give you any more clairvoyance into the world around you? It's simple. The path to enlightenment is to eliminate all unnecessary and harmful desires. And tell me, what's the core of all desires for men? That's right, lust. The desire to bust a nut is the driving factor for everything a man does. By eliminating this core, ever-present desire, it is possible to see the world for what it really is and to experience true clarity. It's not simply not nutting that grants you this enlightenment, it's the ability to overcome and suppress the desire to nut. I think it's fair to say most of you have heard the term post-nut clarity. For those who haven't, post-nut clarity is simply the phenomenon of sudden clear-mindedness and true understanding that takes place after busting a nut. This effect is essentially a short-lived version of no-nut clarity. The reason this phenomena occurs is due to you having just nutted, your body naturally no longer desires to nut. For at least a few minutes, everything around you makes sense, colors are more vivid, and problems that once seemed complex are now trivial to solve. This is all due to the fact that a large portion of your brain's processing power is not being devoted to figuring out when and where the next nut bust will be. But as quickly as it came on, this enlightened state fades as the refractory period ends, and your body renews its desire to bust a nut. This is where the distinction between post-nut clarity and no-nut clarity become obvious. With post-nut, you indulge in your desire, and for a moment you are satisfied. In that small window of satisfaction, you no longer desire, and you are free, until the desire inevitably sets in again. With no-nut clarity, you must overcome your desire. You live in a state beyond the concept of desire or satisfaction. You become one with the world around you, and all things are made clear. So what do you have to look forward to if you take up the challenge of No Nut November? Well, the first week will certainly be torturous. You'll likely experience some testicular swelling, fatigue, likely some difficulty falling asleep, difficulty focusing, just some basic withdrawal symptoms. But if you can soldier through this first week, you'll be well on your way to nirvana. The second week is where most people fail No Nut November. It's during this time that the state of clairvoyance begins to set in. Most achieve the ability to levitate for a few seconds, and with some focus you can temporarily read minds and see through walls. However, this is also the time where not only your physical sensitivity, but your mental sensitivity is at its peak. This puts you in a very vulnerable state. A stray breeze can be enough to get your dick on full mast. Any physical human contact could set off a disastrous chain reaction. Every single thing you see and hear begins to feel like a sexual temptation. This, combined with your now growing level of perception, allowing you to clearly see and hear more, plus the fact that porn businesses and e-girls are clamoring for your attention more than ever due to their dropping numbers, makes this a very difficult time for anyone attempting No Nut November. If you are able to pass this, however, the final half of No Nut November presents a grand opportunity for you. You can finally experience the universe as it was meant to be experienced. The temptations and desires are pushed aside, and your mind is opened. You can float through time and space any which way you please. You can perceive all there is, from the subatomic particles all the way up to the multiverse. And within this 2-week period of pure enlightenment, most are able to extend their consciousness to the point where they can clearly perceive the fourth dimension. But even in this state, your desire is not completely gone. Remember, your desire to bust a nut can never be destroyed, only suppressed and overcome. You may have separated your mind and your body from your desire, but your desire still exists, and it's still attached to you in some way, and it will never give up on its goal to be fulfilled. It will always be there, attempting to draw you back down to the mortal plane you once existed on. While some brave souls choose to remain in this awakened state beyond the end of November, it's best to remember that enlightenment is both a blessing and a curse. If you recall Buddha's stay for an extra 19 days, it left him impotent and effectively unable to sate his desire to nut even when he wished to. Should you remain in this enlightened state for any longer than that, you'll likely never get to experience any earthly desire ever again. Some have even lost their connection with the physical world entirely and simply become one with the infinite. If this appeals to you, feel free to hold out for as long as possible. For the rest, it's advised that you just bust a nut on December 1st. So that's basically what you can expect from not ejaculating for an entire month. I wish you luck in your endeavor into enlightenment, and I hope you come out the other side with some new insight into the universe. Ha! Come out the other side. Fuck. And now, I'd like to give a shout out to some of my patrons. Abstract, Atu, Andis, Ben, Buddy from the Rock Me Son, Citrus L Thrust, Cole, Colin Fire Sr., Damien, Daniel, Doffy, Magnum, Hank, Hooded Angel, Jack the Yak, Jeb Should Have Won, Juice Goose, Michael, Lil Gimp, Nathan J, Nathan K, Nick, Nick F, Rain, Retard Alert, Rodrigo, Samuel, Scott, Informed, Seba S. Bob, Snackawoo, Snaby, Thugginator, Baron Torex, Wheeze, William, Zachary, and Xander Cage.